Here's a question from Dean. He says, I'm an electrical engineer and I work with the maintenance group. We are purchasing new vegetation management tools that we would have in the next couple of weeks. We have a 13.8 kV distribution line along the docks on the Mississippi River that is in sore need of having some trees trimmed back from it. The trees are a mix of oaks and other southern trees that have to stay in place because of erosion control. We will soon be trimming back some branches and we need to set up some kind of recurring ticket in the planning software so that we go back out there and do it again. My question is, what kind of period should I recommend that we use for this maintenance planning? Should they get a reminder to go out and look at it? Look it over each year, or would every other year be sufficient? Or could it possibly be like every 5 years? Dean, what you need to do is determine the growth rate. Then you divide the clearance that was established at the time of pruning by that growth rate, and that gives you the maintenance interval. Now, how you establish the growth rate is you measure the internode length, and it's recommended that you do that rather than just the last year, for the last 3 or 5 years. So you're measuring 3 or 5 internode lengths that establish then what was the average growth per year over that 3 or 5 year period. And that is what you use as a guide. Now, if I've thrown terminology at you that you don't understand, when I said measure the internode length, that's an indication that you need to have someone that has botanical or arboricultural experience and knowledge. Most of, well, let's put it this way. You can go on the International Society of Arboriculture website, and there you can find certified arborists. And all of those arborists would know what an internode length is and be able to determine that for you, what the growth is per year. And as I say, look beyond the 1, go to 3 or 5, and take the average. Now, even with that, Dean, tree growth is highly variable. And the number you come up with, don't use that as set in stone. Because of the variability in tree growth over the years, what you want to do is simply use that as a guide. You need to do a field check on it the year before the recommended, or the average would suggest it be done, just to see whether or not you need to move it forward in the schedule, or in fact maybe growth has been slower than anticipated and you'd be pushing it back in the schedule. But you need to do a field confirmation of it. But that is how you establish it. And I'm sorry, Dean, but I'm way up here in Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta area. I'm a long ways from New Orleans. So I can't tell you how fast your oaks are growing down there. And the methodology I've laid out for you, though, would put that on a very local basis and give you a very good guide. So as I say, go to the International Society of Arboriculture webpage. You can look up certified arborists in your area and get one of them and explain to them what it is you need, and that you want them to measure the last 3 or 5 years of internode lengths and tell you what the average growth per year is. Thanks for your question.